The early morning sun peeked through the window of a small flat in Lekki. Amara stood in front of her mirror, holding her 3-month-old baby in one arm. Her face was tired, her body soft and round from childbirth, and her eyes filled with a love so deep it ached. But beneath the love, a quiet sadness lingered. The woman in the mirror didn't feel like the old Amara, the one who wore waist-snatching jeans and sparkly tops, the one who twirled in front of the mirror and blew kisses at herself. Now, she wore a milk-stained wrapper and her hair hadn't seen a brush in days. Still, the baby in her arms smiled, and that made everything else fade, just for a moment. "Good morning, my sweet pea," she whispered, kissing her daughter's cheek. The living room smelled of pap and baby lotion. Her husband, Chick, was still asleep in the room. He had stayed up with the baby last night while Amara cried in the bathroom, not because the baby cried, but because Amara couldn't fit into any of her old clothes. The knock on the door came sharp and early. "Amara, come out, oh," a loud voice called. She opened the door and saw her friend Titi, looking like she stepped out of a fashion magazine. Her face was glowing, her body sharp like someone had drawn her with a pencil. She wore leggings that clung to her hips, and a sports bra that said "No pain, no gain." "Girl, you're not even dressed. We said 7 a.m. now." Titi pushed in and laughed. Amara looked down at her wrapper. "I didn't say yes," she said softly. "But you didn't say no," Titi grinned. "You need to come with me, Amara. I'm telling you, Beast Mode Gym will change your life. Changed mine. Look at me now." She spun like a dancer. Amara smiled weakly. "But I just had a baby. And I haven't exercised in years." "Exactly." Amara looked away. "Chick said I should wait. That I'm not strong enough yet." Titi rolled her eyes. "Chick is not you. You said you want to feel good again. This is how. Let's go, a beg." Amara looked at her baby, sleeping again in her small crib, then back at the mirror, then at Titi. She didn't speak, but she walked into the room and came out in a t-shirt, leggings, and sneakers with dust on them. That was the beginning. They took a Kiki to the gym. On the way, Amara's heart pounded like it wanted to run back home. She felt shy, nervous, tired already. "Don't worry," Titi said, seeing her face. "First day is always hard. But you'll love it." When they arrived, the building looked like a military base, not a gym. It had tall black gates, loud music blasting from inside, and a bold sign that said, "Beast Mode Gym. If you cry, cry while lifting." Amara swallowed. Inside it was worse. People were sweating, screaming, lifting heavy weights, doing push-ups with people standing on their backs. A woman was crying while holding a plank. A man was vomiting into a bucket and still doing sit-ups. "Welcome," Titi smiled. Amara was frozen. Then she saw him. Coach Bruno. Tall, dark, muscles like bricks, bald head shining with sweat. He wore a sleeveless hoodie with "Fear is weakness" on it. He was shouting, not talking, shouting at a man to hold the bar. 10 more. "If you die, I'll call your mother," the man cried. Amara's legs shook. Titi waved at Bruno. He saw her, then saw Amara. "New recruit," he barked. Titi pushed Amara forward. "Fresh from maternity." Bruno's eyes narrowed. "You'll die today." Amara didn't know if he was joking, but she stayed. She didn't want to run back to the mirror at home. Not yet. The warm-up felt like punishment. They ran in place for 10 minutes, then did jumping jacks until her legs turned to jelly. Then squats, then burpees, then push-ups. Amara couldn't do one. Coach Bruno walked up to her and shouted, "Are you sleeping or exercising? Push or leave." She trembled and tried again. Tears filled her eyes. Titi whispered, "Don't cry. That's when he gets worse." Amara wanted to disappear. By the end of the session, she had fallen twice, almost peed herself once, and her arms felt like overcooked spaghetti. She lay flat on the mat, sweat dripping from her eyelashes. Coach Bruno looked down at her. "You survived. Barely. Come back tomorrow." Amara closed her eyes. "Hurt." But something inside her smiled. That night, Chick held her while she cried in the shower. "I told you, Amma," he said gently. "That gym is madness." "But I made it through," she whispered. "I didn't quit. You also couldn't walk up the stairs when we came back." "I don't want to feel useless anymore, Chick." "You're not useless." Amara looked at him, water running down her face. "I want to feel beautiful again. Not just loved. Beautiful." He kissed her forehead. "Then I'll support you. But please, don't let them kill you there." The next day she went back. And the next. And the next. Each day, the pain welcomed her like an old friend. Coach Bruno started noticing her. She came early. She didn't complain. She tried, even when her legs shook and her arms screamed. "Mother of the Year," he called her once, nodding. "You've got fight." He started calling her to the front during sessions. Corrected her form. Gave her extra reps. Challenged her. Yelled at her louder than anyone else. "You have fat, but you also have fire," he once shouted. "Burn it." Amara burned. At home she crashed into bed every night. Her baby's cry was now a reminder that she was doing this for both of them. Her back became straighter. Her thighs firmer. She could carry groceries again without puffing. Her old jeans called her from the wardrobe. She didn't try them yet. Not yet. Chick watched her from a distance. He smiled when she smiled. But he also saw the shadows. She stopped eating dinner with him. Always too tired. She missed baby's checkup twice. She snapped at him for asking simple questions. Once he said, "Amma, maybe rest today." She replied, "You rest. I'm going." She left before he could respond. One night, after Amara returned from a particularly hard session, her legs gave out in the kitchen. She sat on the floor, shaking. Her baby was crying in the next room. Chick ran in. "Amma, are you okay?" He tried to stand. "I just need water. Just water." Chick gave her water, then held her face. "You're chasing something too fast," he said softly. "What are you trying to prove?" Amara whispered. "That I'm still me." Chick kissed her. "You've always been you." She looked away. "No. The old me had strength, confidence, fire. This new me hides in the bathroom when her wrapper can't tie well." He didn't know what to say. The next day, Coach Bruno called her to the office. "You've improved," he said, arms crossed. "You're stronger than most men here." Amara smiled weakly. "Thanks, Coach. I want you to join the advanced group." Her eyes widened. "It's tough," he said. "Hell round every Friday." "What's that?" He grinned. "You'll see." She agreed. Even though something in her chest tightened. Even though her baby's birthday was on a Friday. She still said yes. The Friday came fast. The hell round began at 5 a.m. The music was louder than ever. No water breaks. No mercy. No resting. Burpees. Deadlifts. Sprint laps around the block. More burpees. Lifting tires. Pulling ropes. Amara pushed. She couldn't feel her hands. Her vision blurred. Titi screamed beside her. Another woman collapsed. Coach Bruno shouted, "Keep going. Sweat is weakness escaping." Amara kept going. In darkness, fell hard and didn't wake up. The hospital room was quiet. White walls, beeping machines, a small TV that no one had turned on. Amara lay on the bed with tubes in her arm and a drip slowly dripping beside her. Her eyes were closed, but her mind was running fast like a wild river. She could still hear Coach Bruno shouting in her ears. Sweat is weakness escaping. She could still feel her knees hitting the floor hard. Her body collapsing like a falling chair. When she finally opened her eyes, the first face she saw was Chick's. He looked tired. His beard was rough. His eyes were red. "Baby," he whispered. Amara tried to speak, but her throat was dry. Chick gave her a cup with a straw. She sipped, then whispered, "What happened?" "You fainted," Chick said. "At the gym. You were out for almost 7 hours." Amara blinked. 7. Chick nodded. They rushed you here. The doctor said your blood pressure was low. Your muscles were overstressed. You weren't eating enough for the kind of exercise you were doing. He paused, then added, You almost died, Amma. The word died sat heavy in the air. She turned her face to the window. Outside the sun was rising. That afternoon, Titi came with flowers and a box of grapes. Oh my God, Amma, she said. You gave everyone a scare. Amara smiled weakly. I'm still here. Titi sighed and sat on the chair beside the bed. The whole gym is buzzing. People are angry. Some are saying Coach Bruno pushed you too far. Amara looked down. I said yes to everything. I didn't stop. Because he pushed you. Titi snapped. You're a mother, not a machine. There was silence for a while. Then Titi whispered, I think I'm quitting the gym. Amara looked up. Why? I joined to feel good. Not to cry every night. Not to throw up after workouts. Not to faint. Amara closed her eyes. By the next morning, the story was already online. One blog post turned into 5. Beast Mode Gym or Beast Mode Death. Young mother faints during Hell Round session. Coach Bruno under fire again. Where is the limit? People began posting stories. I fainted too. He screamed at me till I threw up. My sister lost her period for 3 months. I lost 10 kg but also lost my peace. Pictures of Amara on the gym floor went viral. Chick tried to block her from seeing the news. But she saw it. All of it. At the gym things were falling apart. Half the members didn't show up that Monday. A few came just to cancel their subscriptions. Some came to shout at the front desk. Is this place safe? Where's Bruno? Refund my money. Coach Bruno stood upstairs, watching from the glass window of his office. He didn't say anything. Not that day. Not the next. He trained the few people who stayed, but his voice was quieter. No more shouting. No more jokes. No more sweat is weakness escaping. He went home each night to silence. No wife. No child. No family. Just walls and dust and trophies on shelves. On Thursday he locked the gym. No notice. Just a paper on the gate that said, closed for 2 weeks. People murmured. Some were happy. Some were confused. But Bruno disappeared. Amara, now back home, was slowly recovering. She was not allowed to lift anything heavy. Not even her baby. Chick helped her with everything. But Amara was quiet. She stared at the mirror again. But this time with different eyes. I was trying to look like a woman in a magazine, she said one night. Chick sat beside her. I saw that magazine woman when I married you, he replied. And I still see her now. Amara smiled sadly. I didn't. During the 2 weeks the gym was shut, many stories came out. A woman named Sandra wrote a long post. She said her brother had died from heart failure a year ago, and that Coach Bruno was his trainer. He didn't listen when my brother complained of chest pain. He told him to keep going. That post shook the internet. Bruno's photo was everywhere. Blogs, Twitter, WhatsApp groups. People called him a monster. Fitness bully. Fake. But not everyone was against him. One man wrote, he helped me lose 30 kilograms. I was diabetic. Now I'm healthy. He pushed me, yes, but I'm thankful. Another said, he changed my life. Maybe he needs to learn balance. But don't cancel him. The world was divided. But Bruno stayed silent. Inside his house. He opened a drawer he hadn't opened in years. He brought out an old photo. It was him, his wife, and a little boy. They were smiling. He touched the photo. Tears ran down his face. 10 years ago, before Beast Mode Gym, he was just Coach Bruno. Husband, father, fitness lover. His son had asthma. One day, the boy had an attack while Bruno was away, training a client. They rushed the boy to the hospital, but it was too late. Bruno never forgave himself. He told himself, weakness kills. He built the gym with one goal, remove all weakness. From himself. From others. He shouted to push people. He made them suffer so they'd be strong. But now, he was starting to ask, was I making them strong or just hurting them? After 2 weeks, he opened the gym again. But something had changed. The black banner was gone. The music was softer. There were nurses at the entrance, checking people's blood pressure. The sign now read, Beast Mode Gym, strong body, strong heart. People came slowly like curious cats. Some came to laugh. Some came to try. Some came because they missed the pain. But they were surprised. No more screaming. No more hell rounds. Coach Bruno stood in front of the class and said softly, we're starting again. From the beginning. Safely. With care. And with wisdom. He bowed. The class clapped. Some people cried. Amara saw the news from her phone. She stared at the screen for a long time. Then she picked up her baby, kissed her forehead and whispered, let's go see the man who broke us. Maybe he's rebuilding. Amara stood at the entrance of Beast Mode Gym with her baby wrapped gently on her chest in a soft pink shawl. Everything looked different now. The gym that once roared like a wild animal was now quiet like a prayer room. No loud music. No sweaty bodies jumping like grasshoppers. No shouting voices echoing through iron. The new sign on the wall stood tall and calm. Beast Mode Gym. Strong body, strong heart, safe mind. Amara stepped in slowly. Her feet remembered the pain, but her heart was curious. The receptionist, now in a white polo with the word Care Team, smiled warmly. Good morning, madam. Welcome back, she said gently. Amara nodded, her eyes scanning the space. She almost didn't recognize it. Where there were once iron chains and giant tires, now there were yoga mats, water stations, stretching areas, and a small playpen for kids. A young nurse walked up and said, do you need a place to sit while you wait? We also have a breastfeeding lounge now. Amara smiled, surprised. I just want to see Coach Bruno. He was sitting on a wooden bench near the treadmill area, wiping sweat from his face with a small towel. He looked smaller somehow, like the world had pressed him down. When he saw Amara, his eyes widened. Then he stood up quickly. Amara walked toward him. They stood face to face for the first time since her collapse. Bruno opened his mouth, but words refused to come out. Amara broke the silence. You look different. Bruno gave a weak smile. You look stronger. She didn't smile back. You almost broke me. He looked down, shame flooding his face. I know. She stepped closer. I'm not angry, she said. But I'm not fine either. Bruno nodded. I've been reading. Listening. Got help. Real help. Therapy. Coaching. I realized I wasn't training people. I was punishing them. I thought pain meant progress. But that's not strength. That's fear. Amara shifted the baby gently. She's the reason I came here. I wanted her to grow up with a mother who didn't hide from mirrors. Bruno looked at the child and whispered, she's beautiful. There was a silence. Then Amara asked, why were you so harsh? Bruno sat down again slowly. My son died 10 years ago. He had asthma. I wasn't there when it happened. I was training someone else, pushing them to their limits. I told myself he died because I was weak. So I built this place to fight weakness. I thought if I made everyone strong enough, they'd never feel what I felt. Amara sat beside him, quiet. I'm sorry, she said. Bruno nodded. Me too. They spoke for almost an hour. By the end of the conversation they both cried. Quiet tears, honest tears. Then Amara said something that surprised even her. I want to help. Bruno looked at her. Help how? I think we should create a special class. For mothers. Safe, healing, gentle. Not everyone wants six-packs. Some just want to feel okay again. Bruno's eyes lit up. I'd love that. The next week the class started. Strong Mamas was written on a board. 10 women showed up. Some were slim, some were round, some wore wrappers, some wore gym tights. Amara stood in front with a smile. She didn't shout. She didn't judge. She said, "We're not here to change who we are. We're here to remember who we've always been." The class became a hit. People began to come not just to lose weight, but to find peace. There was dancing. There was music. There were hugs after each class. The gym changed completely. But not everyone liked it. One morning, as Amara walked into the gym, a man at the front door scoffed. "This place is soft now. What happened to real workouts?" Another man added, "Coach Bruno has become a babysitter." Bruno walked past them and said calmly, "Go somewhere else then." The men left. Later that evening, Bruno received a message on his phone. It was from a gym equipment supplier. "Rumor has it your gym is turning into a nursery. Are you still interested in those new weights?" Bruno didn't reply. He looked around his gym. Mothers laughing, teenagers training in quiet focus, music playing softly. Then his phone rang. It was his old mentor, Coach Magnus. He hadn't spoken to him in years. "Bruno," the old voice said. "Sir," he replied. "I heard the noise. Your gym's name is being dragged everywhere." Bruno sighed. "I know. Are you proud of what you've become?" Bruno paused, then said, "Yes. For the first time I think I'm proud." The line went quiet for a long time. Then Magnus said, "Good. That means you've finally stopped running from yourself." But the shadows weren't gone. One night, Amara was feeding her baby when she received a text message from a number she didn't know. "He hasn't changed. Ask him what really happened to his son." He froze. She replied, "Who is this?" No answer. The next day she asked Bruno again, "What exactly happened the day your son died?" Bruno looked shaken. He hesitated, then said, "I told you everything." Amara stared into his eyes. But something didn't feel right. That night, she did something she hadn't done in months. She opened her laptop and typed into the search bar, "Coach Bruno's son death Lagos Hospital asthma 2015. The results were quiet at first. Then she saw it. Police report. A woman's name. Mother of 6-year-old blames ex-husband for neglect during asthma attack. Claims he locked child in house alone. Amara's blood ran cold. The next day she didn't go to the gym. Or the day after. Or the day after that. Bruno noticed. He tried to call. She didn't answer. At home, Amara stood by her baby's crib. She looked at her child's tiny chest rising and falling with each breath. Then she whispered to herself, "What if I trusted the wrong man?" The gym that once helped her rise was now filling her with questions. Fear. Coach Bruno sat on the empty gym floor. The strong mama's sign was still hanging, but the mats were rolled up. The benches were clean, untouched. The new members hadn't shown up. The laughter was gone. And so was Amara. She had disappeared like a breeze. No warning. No goodbye. Just absence. Bruno had called, texted, waited. No reply. He stared at the quiet machines, the playpen with forgotten toys, and the empty chair where Amara once sat feeding her baby. The silence screamed louder than the music ever did. He remembered her voice. "We're not here to change who we are. We're here to remember who we've always been." But what if she now remembered something she wished she hadn't? Amara sat in her living room, holding her baby close. The article she read 3 days ago was still open on her phone. She hadn't shown it to Chick yet. She didn't even know what to say. Coach Bruno had become a friend, a helper, a builder of strength. But if the report was true, then the story he told her was only half of the truth. She remembered the line from the article. The child was left locked inside. The door was bolted. The mother returned home to find him collapsed near the window. If that was true, it meant Bruno hadn't just lost his son. He might have caused it. Amara shook her head. "No," she whispered to herself. "He wouldn't." But the doubt had already planted a seed. And seeds, once watered, grow. Bruno couldn't sleep. That night, he sat at his kitchen table and called an old number. She answered on the third ring. Her voice was sharp, cold, familiar. Bruno. Angela. Silence. Then she said, "Why are you calling?" "I saw the article," he said softly. "I know what's going around. You should have thought about that 10 years ago. I'm trying to change now. You're trying to fix your gym, not your soul." Bruno felt the words like punches. "I told people my version of the story," he said. "That I was working. That I didn't hear the call. That I wasn't home." Angela's voice cracked. "You were home, Bruno. You locked the door and went to the gym without telling me. He begged you to take him. You said no." Bruno's eyes filled with tears. "I thought he was asleep." "No, you didn't want to be late for your client." Silence. "You don't get to rebuild your life while pretending ours didn't fall apart," she said. "Fix your gym. But leave my son's name out of your new story." She hung up. The next morning, Bruno walked into the gym and changed the banner. The new one read, "Beast Mode Gym. No more secrets. Only growth." It was the truest thing he had written. Amara finally told Chick about the article. He didn't shout. He didn't panic. He listened. Then he said, "Do you think he's still that man?" Amara looked down at her baby, who was playing with a rattle. "I don't know. Do you think he meant to hurt anyone?" "I don't think so. But does that matter if he still did?" They sat in silence. Then Chick asked, "Do you want to go back?" Amara shook her head slowly. "No. I want to protect our daughter. And myself. That starts with choosing peace over performance." Chick kissed her forehead. "Then that's what we'll do." Weeks passed. The gym stayed open. Some people returned. Others left forever. New trainers came in. There were workshops, therapy talks, beginner classes. But the Strong Mamas class stayed empty. No one replaced Amara. Bruno didn't try to fill the spot. One day he saw her again. At the supermarket. She was pushing her baby in a stroller. Wearing a loose blouse and slippers. She looked peaceful. But her eyes weren't soft like before. They stopped and looked at each other. He smiled. "I didn't." He said, "You look well." She nodded. Then, "I saw the banner. No more secrets." He nodded too. "I'm sorry." "I know." They stood there in silence between the vegetables and the cereal shelf. Then she whispered, "I wanted to believe in you." Bruno's eyes grew wet. "I wanted to deserve it." They didn't hug. They didn't say goodbye. Amara pushed her stroller and walked away. Bruno watched her go. A tear rolled down his cheek, but he didn't stop it. Back at home, Amara sat on the floor with her baby in her lap. She thought about the first day she walked into that gym. Pain. A shouting. A mirror. She thought about the laughter. Class she built. The way Bruno smiled when he didn't feel like a monster. But now she felt like she had closed a chapter. Not because she hated him. But because she finally loved herself enough to stop chasing anything that didn't bring peace. Bruno stood in his gym that night. He stared at the old photo of his son on the wall. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Then he turned off the lights. And left. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again. But if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.